It is time once again for Forward Live, the podcast where we dive into that which is useful and helpful and helps advance humanity at the speed of thought. So, I'm Derrick Day, in case you don't already know that. But again, the whole point of this podcast is not to deal with things at a high conceptual level, but at a rubber meets the road, practical application level where you can apply what you've heard today and use this to propel your life forward. So I have to do one quick thing here because, actually, I'll pass. I'll do that later because what I was going to do is I was going to share it to another channel, but instead I'm just going to go ahead and go forward with what I have. And one of the things that I want to talk about today, or actually my subject for today, is conflict resolution. Conflict resolution, really important thing because I think that social media has taught us to be complacent, flaccid, and ineffective concerning conflict resolution. And what I want to do is I want to identify 4 stages of conflict resolution that I believe that if you employ these, deploy these, utilize these, that this is something that will actually help you. And it won't just help you on social media. This will help you in every area of your life. Okay. So those 4 steps of conflict resolution are these. Number 1, think your way out of it. Think your way out of it. Number 2, speak your way out of it. Talk it out. Number 3, walk away from it. Walk away from it. And if necessary, run away from it. Because sometimes the best approach is just to leave it alone and escape. Contrary to popular belief, retreat is not necessarily a bad strategy. And even in military terms, a carefully timed retreat may save your people and resources to fight effectively another day. And number 4, engage. Okay. That's the last resort. And it doesn't always mean physical retaliation, although physical retaliation can be a part of conflict resolution. Okay. So here's the thing. I had said in the comments or in the title, the blurb, the description that you have to go through all 4. And honestly, if you can not get to step 4, you've done pretty good. If you can resolve a conflict with steps 1 through 3 and not going all the way to 4. So let's start from the beginning. Number 1, think your way out of it. I can't tell you how massively important this is. I think that one of the areas that we fail in as a society today is that we fail to think. People just don't think. And one thing I want to make crystal clear is that consciousness is not thinking. Just the fact that you're awake doesn't mean that your brain is engaged. Just because the car is running doesn't mean it's moving. The car needs to be put in gear. Engage your brain. Think your way out of it. Apply logic, apply reason, apply critical analysis. My Sifu, that is in Chinese, teacher, martial arts specifically, said that you should have 600 questions prepared to deal with any conflict because this will force you to think about it. And true story, after he explained this to me, a day later, I'm in a Walmart and a guy literally cuts in front of me. I mean, he smooth cuts right in front of me in the checkout line. Now, the first thing that I was thinking, the first thing that came to my mind is I'm gonna cuss this guy out, or or I'm gonna whip his ass. I mean, that was the first thing that came to my mind. But then I thought about it. I said, okay, what is this guy going through? Are his kids giving him trouble? Is he having problems with his marriage? Is he having trouble at work? Did he get caught in traffic? Did he get laid off today? I'm going through all of these scenarios. And finally, after I had asked myself exactly 125 questions, serious, I opened my mouth and I spoke to this guy. And I said, hey, I know you probably didn't mean to just cut me off like this. I know that there's probably something that's, very serious going on. And I just want you to know that I have empathy. And the guy turned and looked at me and he said, dude, he said, we have an infant, my wife and I, baby. And the baby was crying. And I had to run out and get to the store and get something to help resolve this issue. And he said, so I wasn't trying to disrespect you in any way. He said, I just knew that I had to get out of here and get back home. And so the guy and I, we shook hands and we went on our merry way. The next session at my dojo, I spoke to Sifu and I told him, I said, Sifu, I had a conflict the day after you taught me about 600 questions. And you know what? He said, well, he said, that's great. I said, but Sifu, I said, I couldn't come up with 600 questions. All I could come up with was 125. And he just broke out in hysterical laughter and said, Derrick, I wasn't trying to make 600 a metric for you to achieve. What I wanted to do was force you to ask some questions. And if I give you a ridiculous number, you're going to come up with more questions, which will give you more data points to solve the problem. Now, watch this. Data points are important because if you know anything about statistics or about graphing or anything like that, is that the more data points you have, the smoother curve you have. And that means you understand more of the situation at hand. Your analysis is more granular, it's finer, and it's better because you've taken the time to amass these data points. So what he said is by asking 125 questions, he said you gave yourself more than sufficient data points to resolve this conflict smoothly. And that's the thing. Think your way out of it. Number two, speak your way out of it. Words have power. And this is the thing, like when we come to conflict resolution today, it's a lot of people, there is a clear disconnect between the brain and the mouth. And back in the hood, we used to call this wolf tickets. Basically, you're writing checks with your mouth that your ass can't cash. And you go out and you say something half baked, half cocked, right? And it just goes out and either it escalates the situation or it puts you in a situation where you're about to get your ass beat. And that either one of those situations is not good. But if you think about how to use kind words, how to use reasonable words, logical words, uh, you can maybe say something that de-escalates the situation, because a lot of times people want to hear something that will give them a change of heart. Now, mind you, some people are galvanized in their thinking, they're galvanized in their actions, and they're frigid and rigid. And I'm going to talk about that in another episode. But basically, they are victims of dead thinking or death thinking, and because they are engaged in that dead thinking or death thinking, they have dead words or death words that come out of their mouth. But when you speak kindness, you speak love, you speak logic, you speak reason, these are things that will help someone think about the situation, because that's the thing. If you are thinking about it, now watch this, if you think about it, think about the situation before you speak, then the words you speak may cause someone else to think themselves. And that's the goal. We don't want to get people to, we don't want to say something sharp or snappy that causes a sharp or snappy reaction, because that is what escalates a situation. We want to de-escalate. We want to tone it down. We want to bring it from something massive to something measurable. Okay. So that's the thing. We think about it, and then we speak about it. And when we speak life, we speak kindness, we speak logic, we speak reason. And let me just say this too, real quick, because I'm on this very non-spiritual kick. Do not try to inject your spirituality or your faith into a situation, because the person that's on the other end may either not be of the same faith that you are, or even worse, may be opposed to your faith paradigm. And when you start speaking all that spiritual shit, it's like things escalate quickly, because at that point people think that you're trying to proselytize, convert, or be condescending, and you don't want to do that. Okay? So check your spirituality at the door when you are dealing with conflict. Number 3, walk away from it, or if necessary, run away from it. Sometimes the best answer to a problem is to step away from it. You know, um, my wife tells me this. She says, like when I'm going through something at work, she says, "Get up and go take a walk away from the problem." And when you do that, that allows you to have a cushion that gives you space to think, and it also gives you time to speak to yourself. Likewise, if you're in a conflict with individuals, sometimes, especially when you see the person who you are in conflict with is really dedicated to escalating this, the best thing for you to do is to turn and walk away, disengage. You know, sometimes I bet is a good response. And of course, if you're from the hood, I bet has a whole lot. And that's one of the most nuanced phrases in the hood lexicon, right? It can mean a lot of things. But if you say "I bet" and you turn around and walk away, right? That gives you the freedom to temporarily disassociate yourself from the conflict. Now, when you walk away, again, if you read any treatise on war, from Sun Tzu to Clausewitz, um, to Chaucer, anything, you'll find that retreat is not a negative. Sometimes it makes sense just to back the fuck out, leave, walk away. And here's the other thing. I said runaway is an option. And some people will say that runaway is the cowardly approach. Well, listen, if cowardly allows you to live another day, then embrace that cowardly. There's no point in trying to die a hero over bullshit, over something that's insignificant, unimportant. And honestly, most conflicts are exactly that. They are not. I always say that you have to choose the hill that you're willing to die on. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. If it doesn't involve my wife or children, that's not a hill I want to die on. I honestly don't. Beyond that, beyond protecting them, I honestly don't give a fuck about anything. It's like, you could talk about anything spirituality, anything politically, anything philosophically, or anything historically, and if that's your bag, that's great. But here's the thing: if as long as those things are not impacting the lives of the people who are close to me, I can walk away from it. I don't care because it's not going to, at the end of the day, it's not going to influence, impact, or inform my life in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So I don't give a fuck. And and I'm going to tell you something. One of the biggest or one of the greatest things that you can embrace is knowing when not to give a fuck, when to truck your fucks to an undisclosed location. you know, where you just walk away or run away. Because again, if the conflict escalates to a life-threatening situation, there was a song from the 70s. It was called, Billy, Don't Be a Hero. I encourage you to look it up. And basically, in the end, Billy dies a hero. And the love of his life. She's saying, Billy, don't be a hero. Don't be a fool with your life. Billy, don't be a hero. Come back and make me your wife. And and in the end, Billy was a hero, and the love of his life got the letter, and it says she threw the letter away. That's the gist of the song. In other words, you dying a hero over something insignificant, nobody gives a fuck. You know, it's like you're not going to be Dr. King, you're not going to be Malcolm X, you're not going to be Fred Hampton, you're not going to be Medgar Evers, you're not going to be any of these people. You're not going to be Harvey Milk. You're not going to be any of these people. You will die an ignominious death. Nobody will care. Okay, so when it comes to a life or death situation, and running is an option, take it. Take that option. Exercise foot dexterity and get the fuck out. Now, the final stage in conflict resolution is engage, right? Engage. And that is the tough one because when you engage, you need to be prepared to engage. Again, going back to the concept of wolf tickets, writing checks with your mouth that your ass can't cash. Listen, do not go into a situation running your mouth and you know that you are not physically equipped to resolve this conflict in a physical manner. See, this is why, shut the fuck up and get the fuck out are both viable alternatives because again, it either saves you from physical harm or helps you to save face. Just leave. But if you are at a point where it becomes an escalated matter and it escalates to a reaction, an engagement, then you need to be fully committed to the engagement. This is why I'm a firm believer in the study of martial arts because martial arts teach you all of these things. They teach you conflict resolution. Contrary to popular belief, the purpose of martial arts is not just to be able to kick as much ass as you can. That's not the point of it. The point of it is knowing how to de-escalate it, and then if it comes to a physical conflict, that you have the tools at your disposal to handle the conflict, right? So I always say this is that when you engage, at that point you have to be fully committed, right? And what do I mean by that? That if it is a conflict or a point of conflict where it escalates to where you have to actually say something, or you have to be harsh, right? That the logic, the reason doesn't work, that you tried to walk away from it, none of that works. You're cornered. You have to say something. If you have to say something harsh, then that means that you need to be skilled in debate. You need to be skilled in some linguistics. You need to know, or just shit. If you go back to again back to the hood, you need to be down with signifying or capping or something like that. You have to have something where you can say something that will end it, that it will end it sharply, that it will end it crisply, and it will end it concisely. And that the party that you're opposing, that they understand that they are in a zone with somebody they honestly don't want to fuck with. So being educated, knowing things from a historical perspective, a cultural perspective, a spiritual perspective, a philosophical or political perspective. That all of this matters, because once you understand these things, now you're able to respond at multiple levels, and you can say something. You will be the shutdown corner. And if you are in that space, that's where you want to be. But again, you don't go to step 4 unless you know that you know that you know that you have the tools to be effective. And if it becomes a physical conflict, again, you need to know that you know that you know. You need to have some confidence in yourself, confidence in your ability, confidence in your art, whatever it is, confidence in your physical training, all of these things. If you don't have confidence in these things and you engage, you are going to smooth get your ass whooped. And matter of fact, today, it may not even be an ass whooping. You may die. And that's epic. Epic, epic. You don't want to die. Nothing it is a hill worth dying on outside of protecting your loved ones. I mean, honestly, whether or not people are pro-abortion or anti-abortion, I don't give a fuck. I mean, me personally, I'm pro-choice, because I believe that pro-choice is the only pro-life option. But that's not a hill that I'm going to die on. I'm not going to protest over that. It's like, I'm all about Black Lives Matters. I'm all about um, eliminating the stranglehold that law enforcement has on the Black community. But that's not a hill I'm going to die on. Now, on the flip side, if I happen to be in a situation where a policeman is attacking my son, that may be one where, I mean, not maybe, but that'll be one where I have to take one. And if it causes me to lose my life, then I'm prepared to do that. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to preserve and protect the lives of my wife and sons, or my parents, or my siblings, even. I'm just, those are hills that I'm willing to die on. So that's pretty much it. It's, you want to think your way out of a situation, speak your way out of a situation, walk or run away from a situation, or engage. But understand this, that when you engage, be ready, be prepared. Don't go into it half-assed, half-cocked, half-baked, because if you do, the consequences could be very, very bad for you. Okay. So that's pretty much what I have today. I also want to encourage you to check out the Heretic Happy Hour, where I'm joined by Katie Valentine, Keith Giles, and Matthew DiStefano. And we talk about biblical stuff. You know, at least it's from a different perspective. Uh, but three of the most intelligent people that I know, and I love spending time with them and talking with them. Also, my blog, Love Minus Religion, has moved from Patheos Progressive Christianity to Patheos non-religious. Why? Because now I'm non-religious. I've graduated from any form of religion, including Christianity. I just, you know, honestly, if I never have to have another Bible discussion, I'm good. That's me. Your mileage may vary. And of course, this podcast, make sure that if you're watching on YouTube, that you hit subscribe and hit the bell so that you get the notifications. And if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or Podbean or any place where fine podcasts are found, make sure that you like and subscribe, give me 5 stars, and tell a friend. Tell a friend. So before I go, as I am wont to do these days, is I'm going to copy the link to the show and I'm going to put it in the chat, so that if you are so inclined and you'd like to join in, you can feel free to join in. And I'm also going to post this in Facebook. Let's see, where are we here? We need to go to the actual broadcast and drop the link in here. And we are pasting. So, in case you want to join in on the broadcast, you are welcome to do so by clicking the link in the chat, and that will put you in the green room. And I'll bring you in, and we can talk about conflict resolution. Oh, and also, I want to make sure that you guys tune in to Freeology Friday, where Aaron Tomlinson and I are we chop up some of the issues of the day and some of the things that are on our minds. But another thing about Aaron and I show is that we do the same thing. We open it up at the end to anybody that wants to join in and ask questions or has comments on the show, because we want to hear from you. So even if you don't join in on the comments, please put your comments below, or you can send me an email to contact@derrickday.com and I'll get your email and I will respond. Um, but yeah, Freeology Friday with me, Aaron Tomlinson, Friday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern time. You don't want to miss it. Friday we had a special guest, Ben Urban, that was absolutely it was absolutely bananas. And a couple of weeks ago we had Daryl Carlson on, and it was absolutely nuts. I mean, and we're going to have more guests on. As a matter of fact, our next guest is going to be my 18-year-old son, Derrick the second, or Derrick Jr. We call him Ducey, and Ducey is a spiritual guru. I say that without batting an eye. And he is also a podcaster, a video producer, a model, an actor, and just really one of the most intelligent people I know. And it's really cool to be able to say all that when it's your own son. But he'll be our guest. I think it's a week from Friday. A week from Friday, Ducey will be on with us, and you don't want to miss that. So, going to keep this open for a minute. Anybody want to join in? You may do so. I would love to hear from you. Just texting here. And I want to acknowledge the people who are actually listening here. We got C. Rodriguez. C is good to see you here. I think you just celebrated a birthday, so happy birthday. It's good to always good to see you out here. Um, let's see who else do we have here. Little Z is on this morning. Thank you, Little Z, for watching. Michelle Cooper is on. Thanks for watching. Um, let me throw out another one here. Um, I'm ambushing a friend in case you're wondering. Yep. So this is actually I have one more that I want to do. Let's see. Okay. So I've just I just ambushed a couple of people to say, hey, if you want to join in, you're like, you're gonna be like, what the hell are you talking about, Derrick? Join in on what? You know what I'm doing on Sunday mornings. Being easy, like a Sunday morning. Yeah, but I think that this is something that will benefit a lot of people. And so, and again, if you're watching this, share it with a friend. You know, share it on your timeline. Let other people see it. And honestly, not because of me. I'm not making a dime from this, and it moves the algorithm, sure, but at the same time, I tell people all the time, I've had my 15 minutes of fame, that is. So I'm not trying to put me out there. But what I am trying to do is I'm trying to share the wisdom of things that have helped me be successful with others. Because one day I'll tell that story, because my mom, single parent, right? It was her birthday this past Monday, but she was a single mom. She raised three college educated professionals. She did it with the sweat of her brow. Uh, and she didn't always do everything like 100% right. But you know what though? She did the best she could with what she had. And she exceeded everyone's expectations, because I know, man, when I was a kid, there were a whole bunch of family members that used to talk shit about her and talk shit about us. And guess what? We're all right. So give it another minute or two, see if anybody wants to join in. C. Rodriguez says it is often a person's mouth that broke his nose, an Irish proverb. that that is fire. That is fire. You know, it's I remember there was an old joke that a guy had a splint on his finger, and he says, "Man, what'd you do there?" He said, I was picking my nose on the train, and a guy got pissed off and hit me. So his finger absorbed the brunt of that one. And I know I'm probably messing that joke up, but that's kind of like the way it is. So anyway, it looks like nobody's going to join in, and that's cool. But hey, like I said, if this is encouraging to you, if it's edifying to you, please share it. Let somebody else hear it, and maybe they'll benefit from it as well. And also, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to chime in. You can reach me at contact@derrickday.com. Leave me an email or message, or you can leave me a private message on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram, wherever you want, and I'll respond. Okay. So until the next time, may you be happy, may you be well, may you be filled with peace.